Okay, it's 10 o'clock a.m. and I'd like to call the meeting of the monthly Board of Supervisors for Washington County on August 19, 2022 to order, please. And we could have Supervisor Clary do this in prayer, please.
Dear Father, please be with us as we enter into the harvest season, starting with the Washington County Fair and all the things that come with the fall season. Be with the farmers, be with the young people that are showing, be with each of our communities. Thank you so much for all that you give us. In your name, amen.
Thank you.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In case of fire or other emergency, there's three exits in the room, there, and there. In case of that emergency, please find the nearest exit, find the nearest stairway. And on the stairway, clear the building, get as far away from the building as so rescue squads and emergency squads can do their job. If someone needs assistance, please ask, and we'll help you through help you out of the building. So thanks very much. Please silence your cell phones for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Now we'll go to the roll call, please.
Mr. Hankey.
Here.
Mrs. Fedler. Here. Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Mr. Shaw.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Fisher.
Here.
Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Mr. Nolan.
Here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
Mr. Half.
Here.
Mr. Campbell. Mr. Skelly. Mr. Hogan.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Clary. Here. Mr. Griffith.
Here.
Mr. Roselle.
Here. Very good. We have a quorum. At this time, I would like to ask Elise Harrington, our 2022 Washington County Dairy Princess, to come forward, please. We have a presentation we'd like to make. If you'd like to step up to the front here to the podium area. And Supervisor Griffith, the chairman of our Ag, Planning, Tourism, and Community Development Committee, would you please step forward as well? We have the proclamation in our pin. Would you do the proclamation, please?
In recognition of Elise Harrington, 2022 Washington County Dairy Princess. Whereas Ms. Elise Harrington of the town of Hebron has been selected Washington County Dairy Princess for 2022, and whereas Ms. Catherine Campbell of Greenwich was selected as alternate Dairy Princess, and whereas the Washington County Dairy Princess team provides education and promotion to youth and consumers about a critical industry for Washington County, and whereas the purchase and consumption of the many types of dairy products supports and enhances the economic viability of our dairy farmers, now therefore be it resolved that the Washington County Board of Supervisors extends congratulations and best wishes to Ms. Harrington upon her selection as representative of the county dairy industry for 2022, and Ms. Campbell upon her selection as alternate representative, and members of the Washington County Dairy Princess Committee for their contribution in promoting this vital industry in Washington County.
Good afternoon, good morning, sorry. My name is Elise Harrington. I am this year's 2022-2023 Washington County Dairy Princess. I became a dairy ambassador to the princess when I was just 5 years old. To be the Washington County Dairy Princess is a dream come true. Here in Washington County, dairy is a big industry. Recently, in preparing for a training of dairy ambassadors, the Dairy Princess Committee and I prepared a list of dairy farmers in the country. We listed nearly 75 family-owned dairy farms within all of your communities. This is just the farm itself. Now the number of employees that would be on each of these farms. This number is truly amazing and helps to explain how dairy is the #1 industry in Washington County. And yet, even in this county, we have consumers that don't understand the benefits of dairy, or still think that chocolate milk comes from a brown cow. It is my job as the Dairy Princess to promote the dairy industry and explain the benefits of dairy products to consumers, like milk is 97% fat-free and has 9 essential nutrients. As the Dairy Princess, it is my job to tell and educate the public that all cows make white milk and humans make the chocolate milk, the chocolate syrup. It is also my job to make sure people understand that dairy farmers are concerned with the environment and the health of their animals. They constantly work to make the industry sustainable with the new technology. Thank you for having me today. Hope to see you all at the fair. And make sure to stop at our milking contest, which is located in the show ring at the Washington County Fair.
Thank you, and once again, congratulations. At this point in time, I'd like to invite Mr. David Orr, the Cornell Local Roads, to present a Build a Better Mousetrap Competition National Award to the Washington County DPW and Deb Donahue, Superintendent of Public Works, and she would come forward as well. And I'd ask Mr. Roselle to come up and represent the DPW committee, if you would, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, good morning. My name is David Orr. I'm the director of a thing called the New York State Health Center, the Cornell Local Roads program. We've actually been around since the 1950s, and I'll give some stuff to Deb to tell her who we are. But we do a Build a Better Mousetrap competition every single year, where we get submissions from all over the state of really cool ideas we share with others. This year we got 9 submissions, and Washington County actually won 2 of our statewide awards. Your Safety Days was number 4, but your first one was a culvert cleaner that you came up with, which is a really pretty cool idea. So you actually won our statewide competition in an event we call the Highway School. So that was issue 1. We submitted all of these to a national thing that's done through the Federal Highway Administration. And then this year, you were one of the 4 finalists, okay? And I'm going to read you the submission that was put together by the Center for Local Aid Support of the Federal Highway Administration. The Washington County Department of Public Works has repeated issues with beavers plugging road culverts deep inside. Workers would have to risk their safety to enter contaminated waters and risk being bitten by beavers, snakes, turtles, and even leeches. So frontline workers, really, truth be told, Mike Newell here, developed a culvert cleaner in-house using used materials and approximately 40 labor hours. New employees don't have to enter the water to clean out their culverts. So it saves time, money, and improves safety for both the workers and for the traveling public, because you don't get as much flooding. I dropped off a few copies of our newsletter articles that describes this. It's sent to every highway official all over New York City. They're shared nationally with people. And they gave me this award in Seattle. I took it on the plane with me, and I brought it back, and now I present it to Washington County. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Michael and Deb. Another great job. Thank you, guys. And now I'd like to call forward Don Ward, the acting commander, the Greenwich Veterans of Foreign War, post number 7291, to recognize Mike Gray in alternative sentencing and Sue Clary as chairman of Human Services. And Mr. Mike Gray, if you step forward, please.
I'd like to thank the Washington County Alternative Sentencing Program for the community service that they provide. It's a great program, and it's done a lot for the VFW in Greenwich. They came in, we had some iron supports, they scraped them down, they painted them. We got picnic tables, and we've been able to rent out our pavilion almost every weekend now, which brings in money where we can help the community and we can help veterans within Washington County. But the program is only as good as the people that run it, and Washington County is very lucky to have 3 outstanding people that run this program, Mike, Sue, and Sherry, and we really appreciate what they've done for the VFW in Greenwich. Appreciation Award presented to Washington County Alternative Sentencing Agency for your community service Supervisor Greenwich, VFW Post 7291. And they did a great job for us, and I really thank them, which they've done for the VFW and the veterans in Greenwich. Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We will now move on to the condensed minutes. The condensed minutes from the July 15, 2022 meeting are accepted as mailed unless there are any additions or corrections. Do we have any additions or corrections? Seeing none, then we will go ahead with the communications.
For communications from Warren County, we are in receipt of their resolutions number 352, amending resolution number 31 of 2022, appointing members to the Warren, Washington County's Industrial Development Agency and Civic Development Corporation to fill a vacancy due to resignation, and number 366, adopting and approving Adirondack Community College operating budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. That's all I have for communications.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will now move to the COVID-19 update with Tim Hardy. Tim, you available? Yes, he is.
Morning, everybody. Just a quick update on where we are with COVID-19 and our response to that. Total cases to date, current, 67, 5 hospitalizations. So those numbers just continue to fluctuate every week a little bit back and forth. We are at a 7.9% positivity rate over the last 7 days, and our wastewater is still substantial to high. While our overall community rating is low with the CDC, but the wastewater is decreasing over the last 2 weeks. Important things to note, vaccinations continue every Tuesday at Public Health, and testing continues all week long. That is still being used a fair amount, so our public health staff are still being kept very busy managing both the vaccinations and the testing for those who need it. We do still have some test kits on hand. They do have a printed expiration date of July. They have been extended out to January, and we are expecting getting another shipment here shortly with a different expiration date on that. So anybody in any of our communities that are looking for testing kits, you don't have to call 1-800 number, reach out to our public health staff or our public safety staff, come here to the county building, and we will make sure that those are available for you. Other than that, the only other note is we are still awaiting the Department of Health in New York State to adopt the CDC's latest guideline changes, which the biggest thing to note is quarantine is no longer recommended for people that have been exposed. Instead, they are recommending 10 days of wearing a mask if you've been exposed to somebody and have not tested positive. Obviously, if you test positive, you still remain in isolation for your 5 days and up to 10, depending on your current status. So those changes hopefully are going to be accepted by the state shortly. Our website has been updated to recommend that everyone start following that CDC updated guidance, and the state is slowly telling us that we can tell people that, they just haven't given us the official in writing. So public health is still working through that as well.
Any questions? Supervisor Half.
Thank you, Tim. The COVID test kits, we have 2 kinds. There's the purple box made in the USA, the orange and white one made in China. The orange and white ones also expired, but there was an emergency extension or some kind of special extension on the expiration date. I used one last week just because I never used one and I wanted to experience to see how it works, and I opened up the box and all the components inside are individually wrapped, and each one inside has an expiration of 2024, but the outside carton expires now. That makes no sense.
Understood. We have asked that question. The information we're getting back is each component, since it's prepared individually, they put different expiration dates. Some have substance inside or liquid inside, some have nothing. So each one has their own expiration date, but the kit in general altogether is what goes with the printed date, which, as you know, now originally was extended 3 months. Now it's been extended 6 months. There still could be other extensions beyond that, other than what they're telling us. I don't have any good reason to give you why they're all different, other than they're prepared differently.
Maybe it's just me, but I would like to see these COVID updates
And I don't think we need to bother Tim anymore for it. I mean, COVID is here, it's an endemic, we all live with it. I don't think we need a special update every month. I don't know if everybody agrees with me, but it's a lot of work that Tim does, and I think maybe if something changed, we could update, but not just as a matter of course on the agenda, that we get a COVID update every month. Thank you.
I disagree. I think the 7.9%, that's only a small thing, and it can affect our healthcare and our population. So, I know Dana appreciates what you're doing, I appreciate what you're doing. I don't want you to stop, I want you to go forward. I don't know.
Well, I think what we'll do is bring this before the Human Health Services Committee, where we can have the public health here to discuss it.
Yeah.
And then we can make a decision where we want to go forward.
Last thing Tim needs to do is get caught in the middle of it.
Yep. Okay. Does that work, Dana?
That works? We'll carry on the discussion.
I'm the only one that's gonna think this way, so do whatever you want.
Okay, thank you. That's how we'll do this then.
Thank you.
All right.
Stan?
Thank you. Yes.
Stan, one more thing.
Yes.
Is public health doing walk-ins, or are they still appointments?
For vaccination or testing or both.
Vaccination?
So they will do vaccination. If someone walks in and they have appointments available, they'll take them, just like, the county clerk's doing with DMV. If they can squeeze someone in, they will.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tim. Okay. Audit report.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move the, auditing report and ask the board approve the payment of the vouchers approved in the audit, reviewed in the audit committee. $5,235,226.99.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Supervisor Fiedler, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffiths, Supervisor Nolan. I don't see, is anybody missed here? I don't believe so. Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. We now move on to the supervisor's privilege of the floor. Supervisor Hanky.
I'd like to give privilege to Merle Nichols, town of Argyle. I apologize, Merle, my brain's still not working well. Names are the worst. I'll get better in a couple of months.
We all will. I'm not gonna take a lot of your time. I would like to be able to come back and ask more questions.
You can come every month.
Okay, the question I have for all of you is, did you vote in 2016 for president? And who did you vote for? Did you vote for Donald Trump? Anybody raise their hand?
Enthusiastically.
How about 2020? Yes?
Yes.
Well, we got two responses. How about in 2024? There's
I
one.
voted in 2016 and in 2020, but that's public record. But it's not public record who I voted for, and I will not comment on that.
Right, and one of the secret ballot is one of the basic tenets of American, rights.
But the public would like to know where you guys stand, no? You're saying that it's private, I can't ask that question?
I'm saying you can ask, sir, but one of the basic tenets of American democracy, our republic democracy, is that, small r, is that the secret ballot. You can ask, but nobody has an obligation to answer that question,
Okay.
elected or not, or otherwise.
Okay, well, thank you. I've asked the question for now. That's today's question. Next month will be another question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Huh?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You as well.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Okay, now we move on to, the resolutions. We'll start with resolution number 177.
Resolution number 177 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Shaw, Skelly, Ferguson, Wilson, title approve the Tri-County Workforce Development Board budget for program year 2022.
Do you have a motion? Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have a second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 178 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Shaw, Skelly, Ferguson, Wilson, titled to award RFP 2022-24, large meeting room chambers upgrade.
Chairman, moving resolution number 178.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Shaw.
Yeah, the budget impact statement said that it will increase, but is the grant money gonna cover it completely? Or is there gonna be taxpayers' dollars involved in this?
I don't believe it was gonna cover completely. I don't have the exact answer on that.
Well, whatever the difference is, that should be what the budget impact statement is? Because that's coming out of our budget.
Is that coming out of?
Is it a small amount?
I think so. I believe so, Dan, but I don't know what we consider small.
I think
it's all covered.
I thought it was all covered from the committee meeting,
Maybe it won't be.
100% covered.
Well, that's what I wanna make sure, because it doesn't say it, that it's all covered, so.
Well, I can say it from the committee meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I think when it says that it's coming from the ARPA allocation, that speaks to the fact that it's all covered.
Correct. But when I asked the question, nobody could.
Well, yeah, we do have an answer, Dan. Melissa's coming up.
I apologize, it's one day I didn't sit up front. Yes, these are all ARPA funds, there's no county money being used for that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. Well, ARPA funds are county money.
Everything.
But it's from the ARPA fund.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 179 by Supervisors Skelly, Rosell, Half, O'Brien, Shaw, Wilson, Fisher, titled to reject bid 2022-26 wheel loader.
Mr. Rozell, were you going to ask in the absence of Supervisor Skelly?
Yes,
179. Moved by Supervisor Rozell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 180 by Supervisors Hicks, Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, Wilson, title amend the staffing pattern, Department of Social Services.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 180.
Moved by Supervisor Hicks. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 181 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Shaw, Skelly, Ferguson, Wilson, titled to authorize signature of agreements with the Adirondack Health Institute and Alliance for Positive Health for placement of naloxone boxes at county facilities.
Chairman, moving resolution number 181.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Wilson. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Half.
I have a question. Sorry, I don't know this answer, but fentanyl, synthetic opioid, 100 times stronger than morphine, and quite often, if you have fentanyl overdose, you need more than one naloxone, nasal spray or injection. So, do these boxes, will they have one, they're gonna have two in them?
Yes, that was the way it was put to us by Public Health, Public Safety, to have the two. Is that correct, Tim? They've got two shots, yeah, two.
And if they're used, is there some kind of a system where they can be promptly refilled?
Yes, we conduct monthly checks, of our AEDs, and they're gonna be co-located for the most part with AEDs. So, we're gonna check them, we'll probably check them more often than monthly because they may have a potential to, other folks might wanna avail themselves of the opportunity to take one. So we're gonna monitor them very closely in the beginning just to see what's going on with them. And of course, if they're used, there's gonna be a report filed and they'll be refilled.
So we'll have an immediate stockpile that they can be refilled immediately, or do we have to go out and procure more?
Well, it's part of a program, so, when we need to refill, we'll go to these folks, and I think they're gonna stockpile us up front, a few of them, so we can keep them going. It's gonna really be a question of what our burn rate is when we're using them, how often they're gonna be used, and whether or not they actually stay in the boxes. Somebody's unlikely to borrow, I'll use the quotation marks, an AED, but they might be a little more prone to borrow a naloxone pen or two.
Supervisor Griffin.
How many boxes?
I think Tim can update that. Right, located on various floors and various locations in this building and some of the other buildings.
And then you said monitoring, so will there be, some sort of, audio or visual on boxes?
Right, so we're gonna go and look at them, so we test the AEDs,
No, I
so
mean,
we're gonna go, right.
No, I mean, is there going to be cameras on boxes?
No, not that kind of, when I say monitoring, I say some people are gonna be checking them to see what their status is. Most of them are gonna be located in hallways that have cameras.
Okay.
But nobody's monitoring the cameras per se, they're after the fact kind of cameras, so, if we saw something missing, we could rewind and look at it, but there's not gonna be somebody staring at the camera with the box going, I wonder if anybody's gonna see it.
Understood. But there's a feeling that I have that there could be theft, of these, when you say borrow, I think of it as, there could be, theft of these. What's the cost in our content? Go ahead.
$0.
No cost at all to us on
Right.
these license free, but the ones that are gonna be in public accessible areas all do have monitoring. Have a camera around it. Anywhere else,
Right.
we'll be in an employee area where we have access, or our employees have access, where the ED is kept. Other locations, not in public access. We'll have good visibility.
But in a cameraed area, when we went to check the box and saw it was missing, we'd have to go back. There's not somebody continuously looking at these cameras to make sure, to see what's happening.
Yep.
Supervisor Hogan, did you have a question?
Is there any training plan for the near future?
Yes, they're gonna provide training as well, as part of this program.
Soon?
As soon as we get the program up and going, they'll come in and offer it.
Supervisor Happ?
The two beaches that we have, will they be there as well? Do we have AEDs there?
Yes, and then we're gonna put it at the beaches as well, the park.
So in other words, we have 8 AEDs, and so these will.
I'm not saying we have eight AEDs, I think we have 2 in this building perhaps. So, but they're gonna, for the most part, be co-located with AEDs. We may have some in non-public areas that are available to staff as well, that they can use that aren't necessarily available to the public.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signal saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 182 by Supervisors Hicks, Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, Wilson, title amend the IT staffing pattern and title by grade schedule for service manager.
Mr. Chairman, moving 182.
Moved by Supervisor Hicks, do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Mr. Hanky?
I don't object to this, but I don't see how it's gonna increase our ability to hire people. It makes it sound like a car dealership or something.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signal saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 183 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rosell, Wilson, Griffith, title resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marcia program aid eligible cost of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore.
Chairman, moving resolution number 183.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien, we have seconds. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Rosell. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Happ.
Is there any condemnation or eminent domain associated with this project?
Not to my understanding. We haven't, Debbie and I haven't discussed that. there may be some temporary, because they need to work around, I mean, there's always some temporary stuff, or a lot of times there's temporary stuff. We agree with the landowner that we're gonna, because we need some lay down area, staging area, so I can't guarantee there isn't, but there's no permanent, takings as part of this project.
So this could be like the Shushan Bridge, where the landowner not agree, but we did it anyway. So, but why don't we know that that's a possibility?
Melissa, were you made aware of any conversations with Deb?
I was not.
No.
If there were to be an instance of condemnation, would it please come back here? So I can vote no then?
Well, we can certainly, because these all run through committee, so we can just ask, the superintendent in the future, when we're talking about these projects, to notify us if any of that's contemplated. But I think she left when the rest of her folks left, that's why I was gonna ask her if she was out there, but that's probably a good thing to know. It's not probably, it is a good thing to know, so we can just make that part of our, information to the committee.
I would appreciate that, thank you.
Okay. Any other conversation? Dan?
Yeah, I'm on this committee, so I apologize, I should know these answers, but I don't. Is that, when that bridge is replaced, is it going to be closed, that road, until there's not gonna be a bypass put up anywhere, right? And when it does start through this process, when will the work begin? When would the road be closed? Because people I know at the fair are gonna ask, I'm gonna run into people wanna know when all this is gonna occur. Have we got that information, or is it too early to tell you?
I don't think we have it here, but we, we can get that certainly from Deb. Cassie?
I'm gonna go out on a limb, but we're transferring money for the design stage to pay for it, so I don't think you're to that point.
It's a ways out.
Well, yeah, but I know it's not this year, but is it next year? Or is it the year after? Because I've seen these drag out a long time before that.
Yeah, I'm guessing, based on the fact that we're in design phase, it's at least next year, and I know that they're planning on having some, discussions about what kind of bridge it's gonna be. Is it gonna be a truss? Is it gonna be a flat deck? So interest is coming up again, as it always does with this bridge, so I think there'll be a lot of public discussion before it actually happens.
I don't think this is really one that, it's gonna be a hardship when you get to the closing part, but there's 3 places to cross the river in that short span of time, so it'll be horrendous. I don't think we're at the point where we need to worry about, that.
Well, it wasn't that I'm worrying, I just figured people are gonna ask, and I want to be able to say, and easy enough to say that, there's not a time schedule set up yet. That's fine too.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that I wanted just a thought to share on this is, I know it's an antiquated old bridge, but what we cherish and relish in this county are wooden covered bridges. There aren't many of these old steel bridges left. Are we ever gonna consider preserving one of these like they do the wooden bridges for the next 100 years? Or is that too far up? Is that too ridiculous of an idea? And the reason I'm asking that is that there are a lot of people, there was a movement started that stated how historical it was and this and that and the other thing. And all I can think of is the old Hedgeman Bridge coming in Greenwich from Easton. That was an old iron bridge, and everybody wished that had been saved. Not necessarily kept open, but saved. And are we ever gonna think about this for the future when you've got something that's 100 years old? We're gonna just tear it down and build new and forget about it?
I think we can move that before the committee and just, and go from there. That'd be the place to discuss it, and then come out with the thoughts from the committee, and then refer to the other committee if we, could it be tourism, could it be the DPW, could it be, where we need to go with it, so we can vent it and discuss it. So, does that work?
Oh, yeah, I'm just trying to plan the thought that we need to be considering some of these things, even though we're, looking to the future for everything better. There's the history behind all this stuff, too.
Gotcha. Okay, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 184 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title Create Capital Project number 131, Batten Dugan Bridge.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 184.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien, do we have second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 185 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, titled to authorize sale of van from carpool to the Village of Granville.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 185.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien, do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 186 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, titled to write off taxes, Town of Greenwich.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 186.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien, do we have a second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 187 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend budget sewer district number 2 for roof and HVAC projects.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 187.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 188 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend information technology budget to equip stop DWI patrol vehicles.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 188.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 189 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title authorize the sheriff to sign police traffic services grant contract and amend budget.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 189.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 190 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend the title by grade schedule to establish pay rates for special patrol officers.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 190.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. We have seconds. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Haff, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Being no discussion, we will move to a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Haff?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary?
Yes.
Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, 4,397 yes, 293 absent. Resolution number 191 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend budget for mental health block grant award, systems of care.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 191.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien, seconded by Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 192 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title approved the Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board 2023 budget.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 192.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fiddler, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Haff.
I always wonder about the technicalities of this, because we have not even approved the 2023 budget yet. But we're approving things that go into the budget. What if that budget were to be voted down? Does it get in there anyway? I mean, isn't it a little bit like the cart before the horse?
Roger, how does it affect that? If we vote on it now, if we don't have the money for it, it just doesn't go in.
Yeah, if there's no appropriation for it, you don't pay. The government's not obligated to pay something it doesn't have an appropriation for, as long as that, you don't appropriate it in bad faith. So every contract we sign is subject to the limit of appropriation. So,
Okay, thank you.
if you don't have the money, you don't pay it, unless you purposely decide to leave it out in retaliation or something like that. That's when you'd have a problem.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 193 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, titled Standard Workday and Reporting Resolution.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 193.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have any seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fiddler, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan, and Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hanky.
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Fedler.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Haff.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Clary. Yes. Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Mr. Roselle.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,397 yes, 293 absent. Resolution number 194 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, titled to authorize purchase of real property located at 12 Haviland Road in the town of Queensbury to be held in trust for SUNY Adirondack.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 194.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Haff.
So, this college wants to expand their footprint while they're shrinking enrollment. Kind of sounds a little bit backwards.
Thank you. Is there any further comments? Mr. Shaw, oh, sorry, Dan.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to ask this before the meeting. How much land are they buying? Do you know? I kind of piggybacks off what
Supervisor
Daniel was
O'Brien?
saying. Is it like a lot that jogs into their property, or are they
Yes.
looking?
I think Supervisor O'Brien would answer that.
Assuming ACC owns land all around this piece of property, it's just a single, I think it's a red house, maybe an acre or less of land.
Okay.
So they just want to seal that up.
Yep, no, that's what I want.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 195 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, titled to authorize participation in the New York State Healthcare and Mental Hygiene Worker Bonus Program.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 195.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have any seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fiddler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Fiddler.
Bob Hanky, this is a state mandated program.
Very good. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. And that, I believe, takes care of our resolution. All right. And now we are on to Supervisors Comments. Do any supervisors have any comments?
Chairman?
Yes, sir. Supervisor Griffin.
So as the committee chair for the Ag Planning and Tourism Committee, each year the New York State Pint Days glass feature a unique design that celebrates New York State craft beer. This year's glasses will be available November 21st and through November 27th. And I'm proud to say White Creek resident Sarah Kelly was the winner of the design this year, the 2022 design. And Sarah Kelly's design was of the Argyle Brewing Company, and so the glasses will be available there. From Sarah Kelly, the design was created with New York State's special qualities in mind. I wanted to represent the cities, towns, waterways, and agricultural rural areas that make up the state. I wanted to be a little playful and fun too, with the addition of barley and hops in the beer logo. And then the friends at Argyle Brewery in Greenwich and Cambridge encouraged her to enter the contest because of her design beer labels, posters, and flyers that she's done for them recently. So I wanted to congratulate Sarah Kelly, and I wanted to, represent that she's representing our craft brewers in Washington County with this new design. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other supervisor comments? We'll start with Supervisor Hankey.
If I can talk, at first I wanted to point out that, design statewide and national everything was, an Argyle resident, Mike Newell, lives in Argyle, right? So, wanted to point out that Argyle's dragging you guys into the limelight again. Good thing. Source of all creativity. Speaking of creativity, we're having, Thistle Day again this year in Argyle. I did it last year just to try and get people out of the house and actually do something. And everybody liked it so much that we're having Thistle Day again. It'll be September 17th. There'll be food vendors and parades, and we may have a demonstration of Scottish game. We might even have a kilt contest. They're still working on it, and I have to admit I've disengaged myself a little bit for the past month or so, so I'm not exactly sure where we're going with it. But there'll be what was last year turned out to be one of the best fireworks displays I've ever seen. We're doing that again. You can see it from anywhere in Argyle. It'll be going up on
In my house.
Yeah, be going up on the mountain right in the back of the village there. So that's September 17th. The parade starts at 4:30, but there's stuff that will be going on by noon. So I recommend everybody come down and show up. I know that Daryl's got quite a nice kilt, so he might expect to see him. And I wanted to thank everybody for all the support you've given me. I'll re-engage after a while.
You're certainly welcome, Bob. Thank you. Cassie?
Well, every year I have to step on Dan's toes because he doesn't like it because this is in Easton. But in case you're living under a rock and don't know, the fair starts on Monday. We welcome all of you to the opening ceremony on Monday, and it will go through Sunday. We have all kinds of fun and entertainment, motorsports, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Good. Dan?
Yeah, I guess the only thing that's left is I don't understand why she steps on my toes.
It's because it's in Easton, I think.
You have big feet, Dan.
Dana, Supervisor.
On September 10th in South Hartford, the Congregational Church every year has a small vendors fair. We have a new resident in Hartford that is really assisting in this vendors fair, and he's having a classic car show, live music all day long, Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly. There's going to be a horse-drawn wagon from a parking lot where the visitors come around, and it's for the vendors fair, which is to raise money to repaint the Congregational Church in Hartford. And this same person, Eric Madison, went to Sherwin-Williams, and they're going to donate all the paint to paint the church. But this is going to be, I think, quite a large event in South Hartford on September 10th. So everyone, please come and enjoy. There's going to be food, music, vendors, all sorts of things.
Everyone have to paint part of the church?
You do.
High on the steeple, the little tiny one.
I'll give you a roller up and kind.
Supervisor Wilson?
I would just like to thank Deputy Dale Quinnell in the Sheriff's Department for bringing this new K-9 officer down to meet our seniors at the senior lunch this week. I had an opportunity to meet Deputy Maggie. He's in training, great-looking dog, and really appreciate his time. So when she's certified, Dell wants fun. I volunteered to put the suit on and be the demo for what her capabilities will be. To be followed, I'll let you know at the next, senior lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Who, have any, Jim, you see your hand? No? Anyone else? All right, seeing no one else has any comments, I think we can adjourn. Now, before we do, I'd just like to encourage anyone who's available, any super's available, to come down to the opening ceremonies at the county fair on Monday. I know not everybody's schedule permits it, but certainly would be appreciated for those that can make it.